as a non-native speaker of English, I'll slow down. I've never seen so many people speaking so fast in one place. I'm absolutely amazed. I'm really amazed. So this is my 10 minutes. I can do whatever I want, they said. So I'm going to start with provocations, and I'm going to end with provocations. And then who knows what happens next. Teresa is going to take over and chair some discussions. So why provocations? Because I want to talk about, can we transfer our research findings to other industries? And I've heard that there are some people from private sector, somebody from that table, somebody from that table, and I'm going to look at that person who said, I'm not academic enough to talk about this. So this is from the Netherlands. Somebody from a private sector, a CEO of a certain institute, went to a private center for creative leadership, not an academic institution, and attended some workshop and said this, going to blah, 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 I'm not going to promote anybody's center, was a game changer for my organization and me personally. This is what higher education should be like. I live between many different worlds. Two of them are academic and business world. I work and have worked for 23 years with business people, and a few years less than that in the academic world. So when I see this, my heart hurts. But also I see possibilities. And I'm going to talk about that today. Because business people and people who are from private sector, please come and talk to me afterwards. I would like to hear whether you share this view. See the world, their everyday life like this, entangled, many different threads. And they come and listen sometimes and are open to hearing what kind of research we do. But as one of them said to me, your research makes me think. Reflect on creativity. Will it make me do something about it? So the business people I worked with across whole Europe want something that can activate creativity rather than just be reflected on. And I'm speaking here to mostly colleagues that come from the academic world, and I'm going to provoke, because sometimes we are seen as self-indulgent. We do this great work on creativity. We move, boundaries from early years to higher education and beyond, and still very often something is missing. What is missing? I've been taught that it's like, reflection, just what Hammersley said, reflection is always desirable in principle. Sometimes it is not desirable in practice. And we're talking about practice, professional practice in business world. Because it takes at the expense of some, engagement in some other activity. And this is some other activity that sometimes the business world needs from what we do in all other sectors. So can we transfer our research findings? Or is it like impossible? What Jenny was talking today about, what we saw at that video. Can we transfer that? I don't mean, business people rapping, and why not? Maybe even that, So can we do that? Because the way some of my clients speak to me, they say, well, you like to, kind of first separate things, all the elements, whether it's synergies or anything else, or creativities, and then you weave them back into something aesthetically nice, but that's not life, they say. Can we do maybe a little bit of what you're doing and a little bit of what we are doing and make something practical and useful? And this is a picture of their kind of idea, and this is what we can do together, and put it on a staircase, something practical, something that's used every day, that's not just talked about at conferences and written about in peer-reviewed journal papers. So that's where I'm coming from, and I'm starting to think, can we do it? So what we did, and you can decide in the end and tell me how you see it, whether we succeeded or not. I'll be talking about creative leadership, and can we transfer our findings from research to industry? And I'm keeping in mind the business world this time, but it can be any other, So I'll talk a little bit about background research that Pam and I did years ago, which actually we were researching creativity in instrumental group, music, and creative leadership that happened as a consequence of our research and came up. And I want to talk whether we can transfer those findings to industry, to the business world. So just a few things. The study profile was like this. Context situated broadly within the field of secondary high school education in Australia, extracurricular educational setting, instrumental music education. Qualitative illuminative case study, sample 1 main teacher leader, 1 teacher assistant, 8 learners, very small group. Data corpus, 14 video recorded rehearsals, 26 hours of recorded material, 13 semi-structured interviews, and 41 reflective diaries. That's what we have. Time frame, 12 months, 6 months preparation for gala concert that we researched, not our time frame. It took more than that. Analytical frameworks, activity theory, and community of practice. And what we did is we had a question, what characterizes, how do you say that? It's good to have a room full of native speakers. Creative learning, creative teaching, and creative leadership in extracurricular instrumental music group learning context. And of course, as true academics, we did, what we need to do. We did our homework. We, unwrapped the concepts, creative learning from Anna's, Littleton and Mercer work, creative teaching from Sawyer and Anderson, and creative leadership from Urban and Bazadur. And we unwrapped all of them because we saw elements of all of these 3 processes, so to say, happening. And why did we then put them together through activity theory frame and through community of practice? Because we realized that we cannot research just one of these. When we saw this wealth of things happening in this instrumental group. So we got curious, what's going on here? It's not just creative learning, it's not just creative teaching, it's also creative leadership, that she can motivate teenagers. And who is going to spend their Saturday at teenage years doing that, rather than whatever they do nowadays? So we did videographic analysis, we spent a lot of time, we analyzed every move, everything that's happening, really thoroughly. We got illustrative examples from interviews, what they said about, things, and we started coming up with themes. And there was one called discovery through embodiment, as you saw. We heard embodiment many times today. The other was empowerment through supportive statements and decision-making given to teenagers. Lots of things came out. Look at the movements. I mean, even if it's just a photo, just a video capture, you can feel the energy and how kinesthetic it is all of them, not just the teacher, enacting swimming, because that's how they felt music feels like, Many things. Dual role and shared responsibility when it comes to division of labor. No one leader, even though there was strong leadership. So why did we call it heuristic? Well, because there was lots of instances when they talked about discovering and self-discovering and finding out and so on. And we thought, yeah, that might be a good thing to call it, heuristic leadership. And these are the themes that came up after activity theory lens was used. Tools, self-discovery through embodiment, experimentation, and emergence. Empowerment through supportive statements, metaphors, decision-making. Rules, overt, that she presented to them, and covert, togetherness, co-creation, making mistakes, risk-taking. Division of labor, dual role, leaders and followers, all of them were changing roles all the time, and shared responsibilities. So we research creative learning, research creative leadership. Creative teaching is still to be written up, actually. That one is not written up yet. So how do we then transfer that to the business world? There's a 3-year-long development program that I've been involved in for the last 20 years. So recently, these research findings that are from musical setting, from educational setting, seemingly nothing to do with business people. And if I go around the room now and ask you what you think about business world, we would hear many different, beep, censorship, words, and vice versa. When I work with business people, I hear many beep words about the academic world. So how to build bridges? And can we do that? Can we activate creativity there? Do we honor, as I think you said, Kerry, different kinds of representations of creativity? So in this 3-year-long leadership development program, I started introducing some of the elements of the findings to see what happens with their permission, of course. And this is what happened. I wanted to see, can I introduce self-discovery through embodiment? Can I get CEOs to come up and do something bodily in the middle of a very, very expensive leadership development program and get away with that? Can I, use metaphors? Can I give them something to do where it's togetherness and co-creation happening? And I tested things, and this is the result. This was about embodiment. I asked them, can they not talk about their strategy for the next 5 years, but rather, I just gave them a big, what do you call this when you have wool?
Skein.
Yeah, that one, whatever that is. I said, here you are. Can you not talk about it? Can you just do something with this and embody what you feel about your strategy for the next 5 years? And this is what they came up with. Making a plate. That was their metaphor. That was their embodiment. And we didn't take any reflection immediately. It came up later that they referred to it. And based on that, they started writing their strategy, rather than just reflecting on it. Strange, but it worked. Then I asked them to create a symbol of their strategic goals for the next 5 years. And I just gave them paper. No scissors, nothing, no sellotape, nothing. Just do whatever you can. And I didn't take photos of them. They were sitting together, all snuggled together, and doing different things. They were in different groups, different creations. These are their strategic goals. There's their strategic goals. Then once they were asked to create, through experimentation, relationship between different departments in their organization. And once they were asked to draw their vision, and they were given iPad that was going around from one little dot, like the table over there, from one little white dot, this became their vision. And maybe, only maybe, we can start really transferring our research findings and creating something completely different together with other sectors, with industry. Maybe.